Alright guys, we're in business. Attempt number 2. 1199 versus V4 comparison video. Got my buddy Ademar here. We're going to roll up to our favorite overlook. Sadly, the 1199 is going to be leaving us soon, so this is our last chance really to do a video like this.
Speciale.
Yeah, there you go.
Speciale.
Exactly.
And you have to do speciale.
Speciale. You gotta make hand motions while you're doing it too.
Jason, you do it.
I think I'm good.
Alright guys, so Ducati Spacers channel here. We're up here in the Malibu Canyons. We're doing the comparison video of the 1199 Panigale S Tricolore and the V4 Speciale. We already tried to do this video once, but as you remember, it didn't go quite so well. I'm here with my buddies Ademar, who's actually an instructor for FastrackRiders. This is my friend Jason. He just kind of tags along and rides his Daytona and, you know, get some cool footage for us.
Cameraman.
But we had a little blast up the canyons to get here. I was on the V4 Speciale, Ademar was on the 1199. So you said you had a couple, you know, initial impressions of it. What did you think?
Of course, it has quick shift for upshifting, but it doesn't have any kind of assisted downshift. But right away, I felt it actually does a good clutchless downshift.
Really?
Really smooth.
Nice.
Maybe not so much from second to first.
Yeah.
But all the other ones, if you do it right, it comes out really smoothly.
He's got the super advanced techniques though. He's doing the clutchless downshifts. Like that's not easy to dial in, right? That takes some years of experience, I would
Takes
say.
a little bit.
What did you think of like the power and the smoothness of it?
The power was good. I got on it a few times. I felt it was really smooth. The quick shift, the feel on the foot, on the lever was really smooth. But the actual transition of the shift, you can feel the bike stalling and kicking.
Right. There's a little bit more of a delay in the quick shifter, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think that's something you'll definitely notice between these two bikes is that quick shifter is so much more refined on the V4. It's amazing how smooth they've gotten it. And of course the Daytona has an incredibly smooth quick shifter too, right? Like it's just buttery smooth.
Nothing.
It's nothing. Like you just feel nothing. It's basically an automatic motorcycle.
Yeah. I think it might have something to do with it being a twin. You really feel a lot
of engine braking.
The engine braking. It's like it's for a quick moment right there.
Yeah.
And I thought that maybe that might be just at the beginning, just when you're at low RPM versus high RPM and gassing it. But no, even when I'm gassing it and then do a quick shift, still same thing.
I've noticed with this bike, if you get the revs up real high, like say you actually rev it up near red line and then you get on the quick shift, it's like really smooth. But you know, that's always going to be the case, right? Honestly, the Speciale around town, like 2,000–3,000 RPM, you can kick that quick shifter and it just buttery smooth goes into the next gear. So.
I found it to be a little bit too intrusive as far as trying to get me forward up on the tank. Sure, once you get on the gas, you know, on the track, perhaps it might actually be an advantage, but for a street, that was a little bit too much. I kept finding myself tiring my hands from having to hold myself back.
So a little bit too aggressive on the ergonomics, I guess. A little bit too much weight on the wrist.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I'd love to take this bike on the track, so bring it out sometime and we'll do another run over there.
We'll have to do it. That'd be nice if we did an 1199 versus V4 track video too.
Yeah.
How about that? And then Jason, how was your ride up on the Daytona?
It's great, nice and easy, nothing too crazy. Just kind of hung back.
You kept up the whole time though. I mean, you never even fell behind, right? We're gonna go hit some real canyon roads now. Maybe pick up the pace a little bit, keep it safe, you know, not do anything crazy. But I would love to hear, you know, your impressions of the V4 once you ride that thing too.
Looking forward to it.
On this thing.
The lens? What?
Not the lens, but like the...
Yeah, like the outside casing.
Ademar, you rode it so hard you cracked the...
I know. And there they go. Bye, boys. First gear for this guy. Oh, that definitely like
there's a difference in mid-corner feel. The 1199 like definitely pushes the front end a little bit more through these corners. I would call it like almost understeer. Never felt it until like rode it right after riding the V4. I'll lead. It's a little bit harder to smoothly transition on and off of the brakes mid-corner too. Like I feel like it's so easy to trail brake the V4. We are here at the world famous rock store. Oh, by the way, it's really hard to find the stand. Good luck. It's like you have to learn where it is basically. There's like a little knob on it, you just have to know.
But I couldn't feel enough.
Yeah, you literally just have to know.
Hey, boys!
Hey, welcome to the show.
How was it?
Just finished our run up and down the famous Mulholland Snake. That was very exciting.
Ademar stole the V4 the first time he tried.
My first time, I'm so embarrassed.
You can't blame it. You can't.
It's
you can't
okay.
blame him
Happens
for
to
that.
the best of us. He's been riding since the age of what? You're almost 50, right?
And my first time, well,
Yeah, we can't. We're gonna cut that part out.
don't tender that one.
Yeah,
We are here at the famous rock store on Mulholland Drive. Check it out. So many bikes. So little time.
Yeah, we just finished our run up and down the world famous Mulholland Snake, so that was pretty cool. It's a lot more fun going up, I would say, than going down, just because, you know, you can be on the gas, you can be accelerating, having some fun. On the way down, you're kind of just hanging on for dear life, especially on the 1199, right? Like, I guess you didn't get to ride the 1199 down, but it takes so much work from just the upper body and like the legs squeezing the tank to get yourself from just being pitched forward, braking into every turn. How did you feel about the V4 up there?
I was having a little bit of a problem with that on the 1199.
Right.
But the Speciale, it wasn't a problem at all. It felt great. I think maybe a little bit had to do with the fabric that's on the seat.
Oh yeah, it grips a little bit better.
Grips
right?
a little better, and with that, I was able to position the inner my inner thigh up against the tank, which kept me from going forward, especially when braking. And that, along with the fabric, it kept me really positioned really nicely.
Yeah.
And you know, on the 1199, I kept finding myself having to use my arms, even though we were going uphill or in the flats, and on the Speciale, we were going downhill, and it wasn't a problem. It was actually really natural. It felt good.
I think just generally the ergonomics package on the V4 feels so much better. You know, like your butt's a little bit lower, the bar's a little bit higher. You're not in quite as aggressive of a position, so it doesn't require you to put so much weight in the upper body. It allows you to kind of just sit back, let the front suspension do its thing. And you know, as long as you have the suspension properly set up, I think it's an incredibly well handling bike, and it's an incredibly well braking bike. Which you would think, like, having a little bit of weight off that front tire, you wouldn't get as much feel from that front end, but I don't find that to be the case at all. I actually feel more from the front end of the V4 than I do from the 1199. Is that what you felt too?
Yeah, I really like the braking on the bike. One thing I noticed right away is you apply a little bit of brake, and then it slowly grabs stronger, which is good.
On the V4.
You don't want, yes, on the V4. Yeah. You don't want an aggressive braking. You want gradual onto full hard on.
Yeah.
And then
to full hard on.
Gradual.
You want to gradually get to full hard on.
Gradual on.
Oh, we got food.
No cheese?
Bacon.
I got cheese on mine.
Okay. Cheese? Now, what did you think? Just the smoothness getting on the throttle of the 1199 versus the V4.
Yeah, it was quite smooth, and there was a lot of power at all ranges. Low RPM, high RPM, it got on the power really good.
Did you get a chance to rev it up close to redline and feel the power?
You know, I'm not sure. I think I got it revved pretty high because the bike does feel a little bit rougher than I'm used to when it's highly revved. So I'd wonder how I would feel on the racetrack. I know, for instance, when I tested the R1 over in Jerez, Spain.
We need to talk about some of the track days that you've done. This is crazy. Just a little track day I did over at Jerez, you know, no big deal.
But the power was always there, you know. One thing that was a bit tricky for me was the shifter.
Okay.
The lever feel sometimes was rough and sometimes was like slicing through butter.
Yeah, yeah.
I know, but you later told me that it's because you have to be off the gas
Yeah,
completely.
that's one comment we had talked about. You know, you would think you'd be able to use that auto rev match anytime, even a little bit of throttle. You know, say you're on the freeway or something, want to pull off a quick downshift. But actually, that's not the case. On the Panigale, I think all the Panigale down quick shifters, you have to be fully rolled off to get that thing to work. So I think that's a little bit unexpected for some people, and maybe even like disconcerting if you're coming into a corner and expecting to be able to downshift with a little bit of throttle application.
So on the racetrack, non-issue whatsoever.
Yeah.
Out on the street, I like to downshift with a little bit of throttle still.
Yeah, obviously it's a track-focused bike, right? But I think they've done a lot to make it a little bit more streetable. Like it's not incredibly uncomfortable. You could ride that thing on the street. What did you think of the heat on both bikes? Did you feel anything?
Yeah, because we got a lot of traffic on the 1199.
Yeah, we were going
I wasn't
pretty slow.
complaining.
Yeah, we were going pretty slow, and the heat was really not an issue at all. I think really what it was is that yesterday we installed the Panigale heat shield kit on that 1199.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we have our full heat shield kit installed on that bike, and I think it makes a world of difference. Counterintuitive, but the 1199 actually on very low throttle application, like taking off from a stop, something like that, is actually a little bit smoother than the V4. The V4, if you had felt it before it had the spacer kit installed, you would have been like, you would have been taken aback by how bad the throttle response is at very low revs, and it's gotten so much better with that spacer kit installed. But I still think the 1199 is a bit smoother at those really low throttle applications.
It wasn't a problem. It's just that from hopping on, from going from the 1199 to the Speciale, I noticed that one was not as smooth as the other.
Yeah, I think the V4, the fueling at very low RPMs is not quite as smooth. And a lot of it might also come down to the fact that that 1199 has the full Termignoni exhaust and has been fully dyno tuned and everything, so the fueling is dead on. Whereas the V4, you know, stock exhaust, emissions restrictions, all that stuff. So one of the things that you told me as we came off too is that you felt like the side-to-side transitions were a little bit slower on the V4 than the 1199. Can you talk about that?
Yes, first of all, on the 1199 though, it was feeling fine when we went through the twisties. I could counter steer to get that bike to switch sides, no problem. On the Speciale, that wasn't so. It was still handleable through the twisties over here, but it's not a racetrack. Particularly, I'd say over at a track like Auto Club Speedway, turn 1.
Yeah, just for your reference, going into turn 1, it's a little chicane at Auto Club Speedway. You're typically on a 1000cc bike going maybe 120 miles an hour, 110 miles an hour. So to get that bike to turn at that speed, you really need to crank on the bars. So if you feel like the steering is kind of slow, you know, it's going to be a struggle to get that bike down into the chicane.
I don't know if it would take a lot of effort to get this bike through there. I'm really concerned with that. You go from 180 miles an hour down to 120 to get through it.
I go through like 110. He goes through at 120.
I have the same problem on an Aprilia V4. It's difficult going through there.
Yeah. What bikes have you felt that have been like effortless going through a turn like that?
The BMWs that we ride for the coaching school.
The S1000RR.
The S1000RR. It feels like a 600.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people, it's unexpected, honestly, to hear this, because a lot of people have said the new V4, the steering is super light and it's really easy to turn in. So I guess it could have been suspension setup, right? Like there are probably some tweaks you could make to have it steer a little bit faster. So we can't completely rule it out yet, but you heard it from the man. I think we got a lot of good feedback on both the V4 and the 1199 from Ademar. You know, some things unexpected, some things you've probably heard before, but cool to just get, you know, someone's perspective who's an expert rider. Again, Ademar is an instructor with FastrackRiders. They're a track day school out in Fontana. You know, they do a rider development school for beginners. People can go out there. Never been on the track. You know, you can go to slow-paced, relax, do your own thing, have classroom sessions, learn it all. And I've done a bunch of track days with them.
We also have the academy with the pros.
And they have the academy where you can do one-on-one instruction with a pro, as well as one of the fast track instructors. So it's an incredible experience. Definitely look into FastrackRiders. We're going to do one quick little blast through the canyon, so we'll see you soon. We're going to be out down on PCH with some beautiful views just to wrap this whole thing up. All right. I'm really full, so I'm probably not going to be riding as fast. end of our ride. We just came down Latigo Canyon Road. Ademar, what'd you think of that?
We had a clear road the entire way, and I definitely wish I was on the Speciale. Not that I had anything to complain. It was a fun ride regardless.
All right, so I mean, this has been amazing. What a great day. It was so cool to compare these two bikes side by side. I really appreciate all you guys tuning in. Again, this is Ducati Spacer's channel. This is Ademar. He works with FastrackRiders. Go to FastrackRiders.com if you want to do a track day in the SoCal area. And stay tuned. We're going to have a ton of content coming up. Subscribe and like if you enjoyed this video. Hit the notification bell, and there's a lot more coming your way. Thank you so much. So the plan was for Ademar to take one of the bikes and ride a wheelie path. We can do a sweet slow motion shot, but I guess, you know, brand new bikes.
Pressure.
Too much pressure. We're not going to do anything outside the law today. And I think it'll build.
Bring it out to the racetrack. I'll show you a wheelie.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.